So we have a couple of questions from viewers about sort of the general subject of climate change and what ideas the panel specifically has about that. And I would tag onto that. There's been some discussion about nuclear power, the resurgence with nuclear power because of the experience in France and some of the Scandinavian countries in reducing carbon consumption by moving more aggressively in the direction of nuclear power. But just generally, I think viewers concerned about does the panel have any ideas about mitigating carbon usage? Let's start with you, Representative Emmer.
I think it's mitigating carbon usage from changing our. When it comes to energy, Colin said earlier, we're trying to move away smartly from fossil fuels. I disagree. I'm different. I believe we need to have an all-of-the-above energy policy. I think that's what he meant when he was talking about it. It's not necessarily one is better than the other, but you know what? As we figure out more ways, kind of like the idea to repurpose carbon. I mean, we get caught up in these arguments all the time. They turn into debates over, who's a better environmentalist. I start with this, Barry. I start with, do you want clean water? Yeah, I do. Do you like clean air? Yes, I do. Do you think we have a moral obligation to leave the earth as good or better than we found it? I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or you call yourself something else. I think the answers to those questions are yes. So regardless of what the issue is, if somebody comes up with a better way to do it, that's clean, that's efficient, that, by the way, is economical, because as we move to whatever we're moving to, you generally hurt the poorest people the most. You got to be really careful that you don't create a price situation that people that can barely afford a roof over their head and to put food on the table now suddenly can't afford the heat in their home. I mean, we saw how this worked when the government decided to take over the healthcare system. Premiums skyrocketed through the roof, and people lost choice. That's the problem. So for me, any ideas that any of your listeners have, we're all ears. We're working with policies every day trying to make sure that people have choice and opportunity, whether it's on the environmental side or it's anywhere else.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Tom. I'm for all of the above, but it's got to be economical. And we can maybe push the envelope a little bit, and maybe mix in some things in the renewable area that maybe cost a little bit more and make it work. But my district, primarily the electricity is generated by coal in North Dakota. And if some of these folks get their way, it'll double or triple the electric bills in my district. Now we've already had a 30% increase because of the Minnesota legislature mandating a 25% renewable energy thing. And that's already raised our bills. And I'm getting complaints about that. But I'll guarantee you that there's no way that people are going to be able to afford doubling or tripling their electric bills. And that's what you would do if you do this overnight. So one of the reasons I'm looking at the carbon situation, rather than shut down those plants, why don't we figure out how to capture that carbon and figure out how to put it in the ground, because we need more carbon in the soil. We could grow better crops if we had that. So there's a lot of ideology out there that would run us right off the cliff. And we got to be careful what we do.